Hello friends, welcome back. We are playing, well, we're talking about Symphony of War, the Nephilim Saga. Today we're going to look at Tier 3 units. I've been talking about them. They come in all shapes and sizes. Let us check out at least a few of them. By that, I mean all of them. Pay no attention to any unit sitting over there. You don't recognize any of them, even if you think you do. Okay, we have heavy infantry first. Yes, I know the guy in the center and the guy down here in the right corner look the same. They are not. First up, the Sentinel. The Sentinel is the more defensive heavy unit. It has Polearm Warrior and Guardian. Polearm Warrior is anti-cavalry defense. Cannot be shocked. Damage they deal to cavalry units plus 35%. It also gives a bonus of attack and defense to adjacent allies from melee units. When you have the Polearm Mastery tech in the tech tree, it is applied to all adjacent units, even if those adjacent units don't have Polearm Mastery. Guardian says the unit reduces 25% damage taken while on defense. It is on all heavy infantry that do not use spears or polearms. The Sentinel, however, also has it. They tend to have the highest armor at 100, and they tend to deal the lowest damage in return unless it's to cavalry. Next to him is the Zweihander. Zweihanders carry a big sword. They attack and cleave, which means they will hit an entire row, or either the front row, middle row, or back row, whichever target they hit. It will sweep across, hit that entire row. They'll hit one time. The Champion is very similar to the Zweihander in looks. Their attack, however, is single target, but they will hit that target twice. Champions tend to be, in practice, a little bit better than Zweihanders. Those two, however, are the main heavy infantry damage units. Over here we have the Centurion. The Centurion uses a polearm. It does not have the Guardian trait, so it likes to hang out in the back. What it does have is a piercing attack. If it targets... Let's move Brad over here. If it were to attack Armand here, it would pierce and hit Brad as well. It would not, if targeting Gregory, hit Edmund. It just goes one extra row. Or it hits the second column in the same row. So piercing goes this way, from right to left or left to right, and then cleaving goes up and down. It's a little weird because this should be columns, however, because of the way we're looking at it, these are actual rows. Up next, and the last of these five, is the Samurai. The Samurai is a little bit weird. He only gets one attack. He doesn't pierce. He doesn't cleave. He doesn't have Guardian. He likes to stand in back rows. What he does have is a ranged attack. So if someone tries to be sneaky and snipe you at range, he gets to counterattack. Additionally, Samurai attacks can go up walls, I believe. They also deal more damage if they are adjacent to other polearm users in the same row. So you kind of want, if you're going to run Samurai, you kind of want them to hang out together. They also have, I believe, the highest HP. And as all heavy infantry units, they attack in the 9th battle order when they're in melee range, but because they shoot arrows, they will attack in the 8th position in the battle order when they're shooting with their bows. It doesn't really change much because if you're in a unit attacking at range, everything's going to be firing at 8 unless it's got cannons or guns involved, and those don't really end up in the same units ever. And if you're at melee, they'll be acting with your other heavy melee. We also have light melee. Boy, there's only 3 of them. Assassins are upgraded rogues. They keep stealth, so they will attack the rear on the first round of combat. They have innate thievery. When you kill stuff, they will get money. That's pretty much it. Light infantry, a little bit less fancy. There's 3 of them. They do 3 completely different jobs. Assassins assassinate things. Sword masters are similar to champions, only they are light units and thus attack 1 position earlier in the attack queue. They will target 1 unit. They will hit it twice. Rangers are the outlier. Rangers have slightly less attack damage than swordmasters or assassins. However, they have 2 different attacks. Their first attack on turn 1, and any additional attack they're given via artifacts or bonus attacks, will be crossbow attacks. These will benefit from Guile, so they can hit anything on the battlefield. They will bypass block and cover because they're crossbow attacks. The unit, in addition to the other light units, get increased evasion in woods, towns, hills, and swamps. They also get to ambush. Their second attack is just going to be a sword strike. Their crossbow attack can hit through walls, and they, as a unit, get bonus damage against heavy infantry and heavy cavalry on their crossbow attacks. They are useful in mixed light infantry units. If you're running someone that just wants to ambush, you're going to run a mix of all 3 of these. If you're running just a normal little combat unit, you're probably just going to run swordmasters in probably the middle row with bulk here and bulk here. And if you're running assassins, you're probably just going to run assassins because you'll notice only assassins have thievery. If you like cavalry, we have 3 varieties for you. We have knights, who are heavy. We have hussars, who are light. They carry polearms. They have the polearm warrior ability, increases their attack against cavalry units, and grants immunity to shock. They deal less damage than knights. Both units deal less damage than their infantry friends. Cavalry is a little bit harder to use in this game. You also have the guy I felt bad for and put him on here, even though he belongs in a different unit. That's the Dragoon. He's got a gun. He fires his gun. Until you have upgraded the tech tree, he fires his gun 1 time. It does a lot of damage. It pierces armor. It's a great way to kill things that your normal melee attacks aren't going to do much to. He gets 2 attacks later on. He will never get bonus attacks. If he has the option for a bonus attack, he'll just be like, thumbs up, I get 1. And he won't do anything with it. he and his infantry counterpart, which we'll see in a little bit, are good, not great. They absolutely have a place in cavalry units. 3 knights in the front, 2 or 3 of these dudes in the back, in order to make 5 to have a cavalry unit, and then 3 either gunners or swordmasters or a mix here or spread out, and then maybe 1 more in the back if you'd like. It makes a halfway decent unit. The thing to note about firearms, they fire before melee attacks do, and they fire front row, middle row, and then back row. So if you have 9 gunners in a unit for some reason, these 3 will fire first, these 3 will fire at the same time, and then these 3 will fire at the same time. If you only have 3 targets, all these guys will shoot the front one, all these guys will shoot the front one if it's still alive, or the middle one if it's not, then all these guys will shoot the front one if it's still alive, the middle one if it's still alive, and then the back one if they're not. The 1 shot, no piercing, no cleaving, no nothing is their downside. And since we talked about the horse gunner, we can talk about the not horse gunner. Same unit, only not on a horse. Stats don't matter at all for gunners. This magic don't need to worry about it. It's because of an artifact that it has 0. This strength, don't need to worry about it. This skill, don't really need to worry about it. All that matters, the weapon damage. Gunners do damage based on their weapon damage. That's it. The same rules apply for the melee version as the horse version. Fires once without tech tree help. Fires twice with tech tree help. And there you go. Cannons. There are 2 types of cannons. There are bad cannons. These are siege cannons. They're infantry. And then there's field cannons back here. These are cavalry. What's the difference? Cavalry gets canto. Cavalry moves a little bit farther. And infantry does a little bit more damage. For a lot of units in this game, the infantry version ends up much better. This game, the cavalry version is absolutely 100% the version you want. They will fire a shot 1 time at an enemy. It will hit. It will do AE damage around it. A bunch of them together will murder most units before they're able to do anything. That is their primary role. You can field many, many, many of these units so long as you have the mats for them. They are expensive. If you want cheap, say hello to the archers. We have your warbow. They have 3 range with their bows. And that's about it. You have your raiders, who are your upgraded horse bows. They have hit and run. Bonus hit and evade when standing in open terrain and or when attacking. They also have canto. They can shoot you and move. And then we have the interesting one, the arbalist. Arbalists shoot rapid fire bursts. Instead of shooting 4 single shots, they, at range, or 1 shot in melee. In melee, they fire 3 shots, each one doing less damage, but they can hit anything thanks to Guile. They strike through walls. And they deal bonus damage to heavy infantry and heavy cavalry. They're armor piercing. Similar to gunners, arbalists only use their weapon to determine their damage output. They're upgraded crossbowmen. They slapped a shield onto a crossbowman and were like, here, have fun. Also, because they have the giant shield strapped to them, they take less archery damage as well. Are they strange? Yes, they are strange. When firing at range, they will shoot the same number of arrows as a warbow, archer, horsebow, or raider. The horsebow being the level 2 raider, the archer being the level 2 warbow. They promote from. You can promote from archer into warbow, though you shouldn't. You should promote from another light melee class. They have slightly better skill growths. Same with the arbalist. You should promote from. I don't even know. It's hard to justify using arbalists. And then raiders should probably come up from scouts instead of archers. It really doesn't matter. We're talking a few points here or there if you level them like crazy. You probably won't in most playthroughs. Supports. There are 4 primary tier 3 supports. The primary one is the paladin. Paladins are the tankier melee version, or the tankier infantry version. They, in combat, will alternate between healing and attacking. They are heavy infantry and support typed, which means they will deal bonus damage to heavy infantry and heavy cavalry for some reason, even though they just attack you with their maces. Following that, we have the Templar. Templars are casters. They just heal. They heal twice. They have a battlefield heal. It's the strongest single target heal. As both of these classes are support classes, they have the magic armor trait that makes them take less magic and dragon damage. That is part of the class. Well, the paladin anyway. Reduce incoming spell damage. That also affects dragon breath. Paladins also get guardian. They take 25% less damage when being attacked. Templars don't. You want your paladins in the front row. You can also have your Valkyries in the front row. They don't get the guardian trait, but they do get magic armor. Valkyries tend to come 5 to a squad because they give the unit cavalry, and they can therefore move after doing stuff. Those 3 units can heal in the overworld when part of a squad. They'll add 1 heal charge. What won't add 1 heal charge is the Oracle. Instead of healing, prior to combat starting, Oracles will boop your squad and give them a shield based on their magic value. They will then stand there and do nothing. This is better than healing in some cases, and worse than healing in very few cases. They tend to heal, or they tend to shield about as much as a heal would. So their downside is they only give 1 shield instead of 2 shields. But if your unit's not going to take enough damage to break the shield, they're fantastic. Also, it doesn't suffer from the downside of magic users in combat, which is as you fight, their magic scales down. I don't understand it. Magic users don't really need that debuff. Healers might, I suppose, because you can essentially be immortal with a couple Templars. but it's just a little frustrating that like putting a I want to heal artifact on just a bulky sentinel team makes them more survivable than like, the things that exist to survive and heal. But also suffering from the fun magic issue are the magic users. Let's say hello to our various flavors of mages. First up, the lightning mage. Lightning mages target an entire column, either up, down, or middle. If it targeted middle here, it would hit all three of these guys. Lightning mage damage also has a chance to daze. Dazing will... I want to make sure I know exactly what daze does. Daze will lower strength by 25% until the end of combat. If you think that sounds not bad, what you have to know is mages only attack one time in combat, unless otherwise stated. These three guys attack one time in combat. Prior to upgrading your tech tree, when you attack, their first turn they will stand there casting. On the second turn, they'll release their shots. With the tech tree upgrade, they'll still do that on defense. However, when you're on offense, they'll fire the spell off in the first round, and then they'll stand there in the second round and twiddle their thumbs and look cool in their hats. Fire mages. Lightning mages attack this way. Fire mages attack this way. If a fire mage were to target one of these three mage buddies, he would hit all of these three mage buddies. All mages have guile, which means they can hit any target. They're not required to hit the closest column and row to them. Fire mage damage is slightly higher than the others, I think, is how that works out. And then the third type of elemental mage is the ice mage. The ice mage AE has a chance to chill. Chill lowers the skill rating, which means that your hit rate goes down, your glancing blow rate goes down, your crit rate goes down, and your dodge rate goes down. It is shared with the silver dragons. It's why silver dragons tend to be slightly better than you would think they are, which would be the second best damage dealer. They also have a 2 radius splash. If they were to target Caroline here, that would splash the entire box. If they were to target Jacobin here, it would hit Hugo, it would hit Conrad, it would hit this empty space, it would hit this empty space, and it would hit Caroline. It would miss Roya, and it would miss the front and middle top column. If it landed on Hugo, it would hit everybody. If it landed on Roya, it would hit Roya, Caroline, and Hugo, and not the two on the outside. Here, diagonal is 2, diagonal is 2, diagonal is 2, diagonal is 2. Up next, the Sorceress. Sorceress gets 1 attack per turn. Her AE is the large diamond AE, similar to the Ice Mage. She also has Guile and Strike Through Walls. But she gets the chance to stun and daze the targets. Stun prevents the unit from attacking on their next turn. Daze reduces strength by 25%. They are incredibly good in groups that just need a character that can maybe help lock down stuff. In the dragon units, where you have 3 dragons, an oracle, maybe a healer and you're like, what do I put in there? These are really good to put in there. Especially if you're running fire dragons instead of silver dragons. They'll double up on the debuffs. And they'll do halfway decent damage. The odd man out of the casters is the DLC Dark Mage. You have to use a special item found in DLC chapters to promote a Dark Mage. You cannot unpromote a Dark Mage when you have used it. It is the little book here. You'll get a few of those as you go through the chapters. Dark Mages are considered ranged attacks. They can therefore attack twice in combat. What this also means is their damage is a lot less than the other casters. They will do significantly less damage per hit. They will, however, hit twice. Their AE can also inflict Curse. Curse says healing is significantly less effective. In actuality, it does a little bit more than that. It also takes slightly more magic damage, and will cause mages and dragons to deal less magic damage. It seems to be, according to the wiki, a hidden minus magic, or an increased magic fatigue modifier. Doesn't really say how it works. There's no documentation on whether or not resistance to dark damage actually works on them, or if it will stop the curse chance, or if it will stop anything the curse does. So that's neat. Unfortunately, while the enemy will use a lot of them, it's hard to get more than one or two, and they're kind of hard to use. Mages as a whole have issues. While their AE is the large diamond shape, and they attack twice, it's just hard to justify that over melee units that you know are going to murder things, and they can't go in a unit that's taking things that give penalties to magic, which is some of the biggest strength and skill upgrades, are things that intentionally tank your magic stat across the board for the entire unit. They just don't do as much as the other four do. I'm sure someone uses them in units and really likes them. Speaking of dragons, I guess we can look at them. The red and blue should also be up in the air flapping their little wings, but all I used in this playthrough was silver dragons, so I had to depromote and promote them so you could see the blue and the red. And they don't have any class points, so they can't level. That's all it is. The differences between them are minimal. Silver dragons have the most health. They all share similar armor. However, silver dragons are better. Silver dragons have a little bit... silver dragons are sort of the middle of the road. They have the most health. They have the lowest strength. Red has the highest. They have the lowest magic. Red has the highest. But they're not so far behind that it's worrisome. They also only have mediocre skill, where blue dragons have the most skill. The thing is, skill doesn't do anything for dragons. Dragon damage is based on their strength, and their magic, and their crappy weapon damage, and their percentage health. If they are full health, this is why they like being with oracles, because if they're with healers, sometimes their HP goes down, and then they try to attack, and they do a little bit less damage, or when they're with oracles, their health is actually higher than their max health, which just, I believe, counts as the maximum modifier of 100%. The breaths they deal. Blue dragons hit I think they all hit a 1 radius attack, which means if they were in this unit breathing on Caroline, they would hit Roya and Hugo as well. If they were hitting Hugo, they'd hit Conrad, Jacobin, and Caroline. It would be this cross-shape pattern. Slightly smaller AE. Blue dragons and blue dragon riders inflict chill on their breaths. Red dragon riders, silver inflicts chill. Red dragons deal minus skill? And blue dragons are bad. Red, just think red is the most damage, silver is the most tanky and has debuffs, and blue is not worth taking. If you want to equip dragons, just give them something that jacks up their strength and their magic and their HP, or makes them take a lot less damage. Taking less damage means they deal more damage. They're fun that way. Dragons have Guardian. Anything, or they take less damage when they're defending. They have Colossal. They're big. They cannot dodge. So don't give them anything that says, we would like to dodge, because they just won't. The last thing to look at are the undead. These are DLC content things. The undead come from necromancers. Necromancers are a fun special type of caster. They should be lumped in there with the casters. They function very similar to them. However, they deal single target damage. Therefore, they attack twice. They are slow infantry, as are all casters. Necromancers deal significant single target damage. They have Guile, so they can hit anything. They can strike through walls. Their effect is considered a dark attack, where dark mages are considered magic, but are dark magic, but they have different icons, and people are questioning exactly what that means. Necromancers, when they deal damage, they will also lifesteal it, and when they're overhealed, they will heal their party, or they will summon Risen. Being in a group also means that these Risen gain stacks easier. You'll notice each of these Risen has 1 stack, and that means they currently have crappy HP. They cannot be healed. They gain Dark Life Force. Each little box represents a third of their stats. As the box fills, they'll gain an extra little Risen unit standing in a little clump with them. They'll gain HP, they'll gain stats, they'll gain damage output. They come in 5 varieties that you can use as the player. They function similar to other units, but they are much slower. Archers attack on the 8th rank. Swordsmen, spearmen, warriors and soldiers attack on the 11th rank, and then the enemy-only units, the Risen Knights, attack on the 10th rank, and the Risen Archmages, that are enemy-only units, they cast magic at the same speed as other casters. What they do: Swordsman, those little dudes, they have nothing special. They are considered light infantry. They will do 2 attacks, 1 in each round. They are slightly more survivable than Risen Warriors. Risen Warriors are the undead Zweihander and... Risen Warriors are champions / swordmasters. They will attack twice in a combat round. They have less survivability than the ones that don't. Risen Archers have a ranged attack that can strike through walls and hit anybody. Risen Spearmen are heavy infantry. They have Polearm Warrior, so they deal extra stuff against Cav. Risen Warriors have no special traits because they have double attack. Swordsmen and Archers are considered light. They deal damage based on their skill. And they get bonuses from terrain. And then there's a long list of fun things that happen with Risen. When they die, they, as most units do, come back. They are replenished every chapter. They can hold 3 Risen units in a tile, but they can only have 1 assigned there. When they are overhealed, they create new squads. If there is empty space in a unit, they create extra bodies. So if you have this unit, for instance, and there's some overhealing happening, they may just pop up another Risen here, another Risen here. If these guys are spread out properly, another Risen in the center. Downsides. They're terrible. They're squishy. They need friends. They need an Oracle friend. They want a Necromancer friend. They probably want one of those to be doubled up. And for best use, you just run 3 Risen Warriors in your middle row. You run your casters in your back row, and then you run 3 heavy infantry, probably champions, in your front row, and you just have 6 double attackers, 3 of which can take damage and come back. Are they good? I don't know. Probably not. Are they better than normal infantry of the same kind? No, probably not. Can they promote? I think they can promote to each other. Let's make sure that's a thing. Yep. They can change freely between the 5 versions you can have. There's an item that will randomly make one of them. I guess they didn't want you to not have access to the ones you actually wanted to use, so you just keep going to Risen Warrior. Or I guess you could make a Risen Archer unit, but they're not going to be as good as Warbows. Their other upside is they are considered Tier 1 units. The Risen units anyway, not the casters. The casters are considered Tier 3. What this means is there is an item that says, let's see if I have it without giving away some of the things. What am I looking for? I forget what it's called. There it is, Emperor's Missive. Tier 1 units take 50% damage. That's a pretty much auto include for risen units. It means all your little skeletons just take half damage. It's how they can function in a world where they have about half the HP of something equal in level to them. What you haven't seen in this video, because I don't have any on this save, because I started the save, or I started the DLC well after I started playing the game and there were no bazaars that I bothered getting them from, are cats. You've seen them in the main playthrough. I'm abusing the heck out of their abilities. Cats are beasts. They, like dragons, take up 2 slots. They are considered light infantry. They will cleave. And they will splash to this. They have 2 wide sweeping slashing attacks, which will cleave and pierce, I think is what the description says. Although, based on the notations, all they do is cleave. They are considered 3 light infantry for squad movement, meaning that if you want one of them, they take up the spot of 2 people, they count as 3 light infantry, so if you have them, 5 horses, and a guy, you're still good. If you have them, 4 horses and 2 guys, you're not good. Their upgraded version, the Behemoth, has more HP and does more damage. And that's about it. Also, they get to ambush. They're very good. It's hard to figure if they're good enough to make teams once you can have 9 characters in each unit. Or 9 units in each squad, if you like that terminology better. I don't. What you do is you give them rally that says the other 4 things that share the same lines as they do, the same rows as they do, have increased stats on the attack and the defense. And then you just let them cleave, and you hope that the plus bonus to attack and defense to 4 units is worth essentially not having an additional swordmaster or a Zweihander. I don't know how the math works out. I think it might work out favorably for them in a couple units. It doesn't with assassins, because you just want the full assassins assassinating things. But I think if you're running light infantry units, one of them buffing your leader and 2 swordmasters and 1 ranger probably is better than having an additional swordmaster and ranger, considering they are the only light armor Zweihanders. I'm sure someone has done the math on it and knows definitively yes or no, but I think it's an interesting question. Other than that, there's some unique things that I don't really want to spoil. I think we have looked at everyone. This is just a healer unit that I borrowed some units for to make the units to show off stuff. That was sort of a long-winded rant / explanation. 45 minutes. If you stayed to the end, you probably could have just Googled this and done it faster, but I'm glad you listened. So until next time, take it easy. Have a good one.